Hi. In today's session, we can see what is the difference between inheritance and what is and association. When do we need to prefer inheritance and when do we need to prefer association? Okay. So in one of my video, I told about what is association, about different types of association like composition and aggregation, and what is the relationship, right? Like with the composition, we have a strong relationship. With aggregation, we have a kind of a weak relationship, right? Now we can see why when we need to go for inheritance, when we need to go for association, right? Let's take this scenario. Okay, so I have an um, three different objects. Okay, I have employee object with name, ID, age, and contact number. Agent with ID, name, location and rate, and address with ID, street, state, and 100. Okay, so how do we need to decide these pojos? I need to create a pojos, like I need to create a class for this three objects. Okay, um so which one I need to use, right? For uh, so if you see, both employees and agents, I can say like they are a person, right? And as a person they should be having common properties like ID, and they have a name. Similarly, they should be. So what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to create a person object and putting all those common properties inside a person. And I'm going to say my employee is a person, my agent is a person. Okay, so that's where I'm going to establish the inheritance relationship. The inheritance really helping me because I'm going to define all the common properties inside a person. Okay, I'm going to reuse that code. Okay, um, with the help of the inheritance. Okay, so that is the purpose of inheritance. Okay, it is to say like is a relationship. We need to establish is a relationship. Okay, on the other side, if you see the address, okay, I cannot say like the employee is a address or agent is a address, a person is a address, right? No, that doesn't make sense, right? But on the other side, I can say employee has address. As a agent, I has a address, right? So in general, like person need to have address, right? So that has a relationship. The association really works in case of address. Okay, so what I'm doing here is like for a person I added address. Okay, so this is how we need to think. Okay, like we cannot simply go and put like make use of inheritance or association, right? We need to think, okay, whether it is inheriting, it is a relationship or as a relationship, right? We need to think in that perspective and come up with the inheritance or association. Okay, so in case of inheritance, like here are some of the examples, right? Fruit is a apple is a fruit, right? Car is a vehicle. So there is a relationship established there. With the help of is a relationship, I'm making reusing some of the common properties, right, from my parent, right? So that is inheritance. Okay, and inheritance is it's a unidirectional. Okay, let's say like a house is a building, right? But on the other side, all the buildings cannot be a house, right? So it's a unidirectional relationship in case of inheritance. On the other side, we have association where Maruti has an engine or house has a bathroom, right? So it has a relationship. So that is the perspective we need to think. Okay, whether we need to use a inheritance or association. Okay, so there are few advantages of using the association. Okay, let's say like I need to make some changes, right? So in case of making any changes in inheritance, okay, you need to be very careful. Okay, that may throw the compilation issues, and you need to make changes on the child class, right? So let's say like I have a method, right? I have a method inside a employee which is using the name, right? In case if I'm going to change the name as a first name, right, then I need to make change in my you know method in the employee class, right? So whenever you going to make any changes and the parent class in inheritance, you need to make sure that is not impacting the child class. Okay, so that is one thing you need to take care when you're going for inheritance. But on the other side, okay, as association, you doesn't need to take care. because what you are using is just a reference, right? Using that reference you can access any number of any methods or any properties of address, right? Um, so any changes you are doing in address, okay, it's not going directly going to impact um, your child classes, at least at a compilation level, right? Like you should be good enough, okay? So association is always good to um, make a change at a runtime, okay? Make a change, it is good to make a change. On other side, like also one more advantage of having association is, okay, let's say like an address, okay, I can have any number of address. I can have business address, I can have home address, I can have um, work address, right? So what will happen, like at the runtime I will decide which address I want to bind with this address, and I will create that object and I will bind to my address, okay? So the business address is nothing but it inherits the address, okay? And so over there I will be establishing the inheritance relationship, but at the runtime I am binding one of those address to um, the person's address, okay? So the dynamic binding is really happening in case of association, okay? But in case of inheritance, it's a static binding where at a compile time itself, like what is like what is the relationship, right? At a compilation time itself, my employee is inheriting the person, right? My agent is inheriting a pension, right? So that is a static, but association is a kind of a dynamic binding, okay? uh, we need to make use of all these things, and we need to think in perspective of all these things, and we need to really create our projects or our classes to use the inheritance or association. Okay. Hope you guys um, clear about when to use the inheritance and association. Thank you.